Welcome to Houston Television's special coverage of the 2022 State of the City Address. I'm your host, TaKasha Francis, Director of the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods. This year's State of the City, hosted by the Houston First Corporation, takes place at the Hilton Americas Hotel located in downtown Houston. This is Mayor Sylvester Turner's 7th State of the City address since taking office in January 2016. Today, Mayor Turner will share his vision for Houston with community leaders, council members, and the citizens of our great city. Our theme is a bridge to the future, and we will hear the mayor describe many of our achievements in the past year, as well as some of the challenges facing our city. Announced by Mayor Turner in February of this year, One Safe Houston is the City of Houston's comprehensive plan to combat violent crime. The city recently held its second One Safe Houston gun buyback event, in which more than 1,200 firearms were collected. Here's more about that event's success.
This is a demonstration of collective effort, and as of 9/25, we have collected more than 285 guns already.
It's a good deal. We're moving forward with it. It removes guns off the streets and puts them in safe hands. So that's a good thing.
And to make it an even greater success, to let people know that this is not an effort to take guns, but if we find a gun that was stolen, that gun is returned to the person that had the gun.
It's not just HPD, but it's our elected officials who are working with this. It's our community organizations that are working. It's everybody that's coming together to make it happen.
For every gun that we're able to take off the street, it's going to cause for a safer community in the areas in which we live and serve.
We are bringing down crime. We're on the map, and we're using it for a buyback program that now is going to spread across America. We're giving people money to save lives. So look, show up. I'm honored not just to serve on city council, but to be a member of an organization that values protecting Houstonians. If we're going to keep Houston as good as we say she is, these are the types of programs and opportunities we must invest in.
And at this point, over 285 guns have been collected. More than 300 cars are still in line, and we will be here until noon or until the last car leaves.
If you do the right thing, the city of Houston will have your back.
The initiative is working, but we're not satisfied until there are no crimes being committed.
Joining us now to tell us more about the One Safe Houston initiative is Crystal Okorafor, Deputy Inspector General. Crystal, thank you for being with me today. How you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I am wonderful, wonderful. I'm excited to talk about One Safe Houston and this amazing initiative that you're working with Mayor Turner. So why don't you tell our viewers more about One Safe Houston?
Absolutely. So One Safe Houston was unveiled by the mayor in February of this year. It is a holistic approach to combating violent crime, and we've seen great success for the program. When it first started, we were well above last year's numbers in all violent crimes areas. Since implementing the program, there are several pieces to it. It's approximately $55 million of ARPA funding that has gone towards it. And so part of the funding has gone to the police department, another part for the overtime officers, another portion, about $22 million, has gone towards mental health initiatives. That's our CERT teams, our core with the laptops, and then our DRT teams. Also, we have a $10 million portion that goes towards domestic violence. We have a portion towards credible messengers. It's just a holistic approach. There are councils with the religious and faith leaders amongst the community. And so we've seen great success, as I mentioned. And now violent crime is down in all levels.
Awesome. That sounds wonderful.
Yes.
Now, as I listen to you outline part of One Safe Houston, I recognize a lot of the reform initiatives from the mayor's committee on police reform. Were many of those aspects of the suggestions from that committee implemented in One Safe Houston?
One Safe Houston doesn't necessarily take apart the mayor's task force initiatives, but it did work in with the police department. And so approximately $10 million in overtime has gone to the police department and the way in which they're using that. And part of the mental health initiatives and domestic violence pieces were portions of the task force reform also.
Wow, it's wonderful. So it sounds like we are on the right road.
Absolutely. It's definitely taking hold, and I am so thankful for the mayor for coming up with this program and the success, because it really allows the community to get involved, as you saw with our gun buyback program, which is believed to be the most successful in the country in the history of gun buybacks.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we are Houston, so we do it big.
Always.
We
Everything's bigger.
always go big and go home. Wow. So what else can the community expect besides what we've already seen? Are there more gun buyback programs happening throughout the city, or what other ways can we get involved?
Absolutely. So there'll definitely be some more gun buyback programs because they've been so successful, and so we want to continue to help with that. And then there's also going to be some youth initiative pieces that we're working on, and then also more with the mental health and domestic violence, so that we can really help those people that are in need. And then we're always looking to do anything we can.
Thank you so much for being here today to talk to us about One Safe Houston, and we are excited to bring more information about the great things happening in our city. This past spring, Mayor Turner announced the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality's approval of the largest urban solar farm in the country, located in Sunnyside, Texas, which is one of the 10 complete communities. This project will transform a long dormant landfill into a solar farm, which will provide renewable power sources and jobs. Let's take a look.
This week, the city and its partners received important news, and it is my great pleasure to report that we have received the approval from the Texas Commission for Environmental Quality, TCEQ, to proceed with the Sunnyside Solar Farm project. Is envisioned to convert 240 acres of landfill that have sat dormant for over 50 years into a solar power farm that will provide renewable power sources, enough energy to power up to 5,000 to 10,000 homes.
That's the solar energy right there.
There was a question as to whether Sunnyside would survive. But I'm here to tell you today that Sunnyside will not only survive, it will thrive, because what they thought was a landfill forever will become a solar farm that will become the epicenter of change when it comes to solar activity in urban America.
This has been an involved process between the private sector, the community, and city and state entities. And it goes to show that when all of us come to the table, we can move the needle on our climate ambitions and transform a community in a very real and meaningful way.
Launched as a citywide program to revitalize Houston's most under-resourced neighborhoods, Complete Communities is one of Mayor Turner's signature initiatives. Joining us now to tell us more is Director of Complete Communities, Shannon Buggs. Shannon, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much, TaKasha, for having me in this conversation.
So now look, we talked about some of the signature and major initiatives out of Complete Communities, starting with Sunnyside Solar Farm. So why don't you kick us off with that and tell us about some other important initiatives happening right now?
Well, as you know, the Sunnyside Solar Farm is going to become the nation's largest solar panel farm on a landfill that's ever been created in this country.
Awesome.
It is truly dynamic. But there's more to it than that. There are going to be community benefits that whole farm generates, in addition to being able to put people to work and the construction of the farm. We're also looking at ways of bringing more healthy food into the neighborhood in connection with some of the interests around food insecurity, and being able to generate solar power for that neighborhood that will help us to be transformational in more than just dealing with the landfill.
Awesome.
So, it is a truly holistic approach to addressing a long environmental injustice that has existed in that neighborhood, with very holistic quality of life amenities that upgrade the land and also connect to the energy of the wonderful Sunnyside residents who have long overcome having less resources, but making tremendous impact on our city through the work that they do.
I think it's amazing, because at this point we're all moving towards renewable energies in our energy sector. So having solar farms is a great way to not only raise the bandwidth in Sunnyside and other under-resourced neighborhoods, but also providing economic opportunity. That's a great accomplishment.
Thank you. And so that's on the south side of Houston.
All right.
On the north side, we are transforming a former elementary middle school campus in the Aldine ISD into our Bethune Empowerment Center, which will be a workforce development center that will also have training offered by Lone Star College around solar jobs of the future.
Awesome.
So we are, as a city, looking at how we're going to include EV charging stations into our overall infrastructure, and Lone Star is going to help get people ready to do those types of jobs. there at the Bethune Empowerment Center. But we already have our first tenant there at the campus as we're doing the ongoing renovations of the phase 1 part of it, which will wrap up very soon, and then we'll be launching in the very beginning of next year the second phase of renovations.
Awesome.
And those renovations will also lead to the construction of a brand new building on the campus for a makerspace, where we're going to make sure that the entrepreneurs of Acres Home in the north side of town have a place where they can be creative and turn their visions of all kinds of inventions into reality, have access to the tools and the technical assistance that they need right there on that campus.
And I know that our time is short, but there are 10 complete communities that are all over the city. This, of course, is only a snippet of everything we're doing, but just quickly, can you run down some of the programs associated with Complete Communities?
I certainly can. One of my all-time favorites is Complete Communities University, which your department, the Department of Neighborhoods, transformed into a civic engagement course where people get a certificate of completion for the work that they do over 8 weeks to learn about how the City of Houston really works, right? Going beyond what's on a Wikipedia page and our official website to really understanding how you work with your elected officials, how you work with your neighbors, how you work with community organizations and stakeholders and other government agencies in order to really make the transformational change within your neighborhood that you and your neighbors want to see. It is the work that transforms aspirations into concrete work, and it is amazing. But in addition to that, we also provide free financial counseling as a city service through our Houston Financial Empowerment Center program. And that is located in 4 of our complete communities. We're expanding to a 4th. And it is amazing to be able to give people the resources that they need around managing money, eliminating debt, improving credit scores, paying off debt, all kinds of work that it takes to really get your money together and to be able to better manage your lives.
Thank you so very much. Shannon, thank you for being with us today and giving us that amazing information about Complete Communities University. We're doing a lot of wonderful things, as well as all of our complete communities doing great things in the City of Houston. And now the City of Houston is home to over 382 developed parks and more than 167 green spaces. The city has announced plans to expand Buffalo Bayou Park to Houston's East End with new funding. Here's a look at this exciting project, which will transform the East End and Greater Fifth Ward.
I'm delighted to announce a historic public-private partnership to realize the organization's visionary Buffalo Bayou East Master Plan, a collaboration that also includes Harris County, our partners with Harris County, our federal partners, and quite frankly, our private partners as well. Over the next 10 years, we will see more than $310 million invested in Buffalo Bayou East. The vision includes restoring, expanding, and improving parkland, including the Tony Marone and Jaffa Creek Park. This is an investment in communities. It will bring new bayou parks, trails, affordable housing, and cultural destinations to the underserved Greater East End and Fifth Ward neighborhood.
At the Kinder Foundation, we have historically concentrated on supporting and enabling what we call transformational projects. And I really can't imagine any project more transformational than what we're talking about here today. While our donation will kickstart this project, it'll only succeed with the support of our partners, and we look forward to working with them to achieve our ambitious goals over the next several years.
I don't want to just quickly pass by this day as if it happens every day, because it does not. And in fact, this is indeed historic. Rich and Nancy, again, let me say thank you for letting all of Houston know that all of Houston is worth being invested in.
And we're back. So Shannon, in addition to the advancements we just saw with Buffalo Bayou Park, what other advancements should we expect in our parks throughout the City of Houston?
Oh, sure. The mayor has prioritized neighborhood parks. In addition to seeing all of the fabulous work that's happened at our signature iconic parks such as Memorial Park, Herman Park, Emancipation Park, Mayor Turner has prioritized the neighborhood parks that are right next door to residents in our complete communities and beyond. And so he initiated the work that's being done through an equity lens to improve 50 neighborhood parks through our 50/50 Park Partners program. So in the next year, you'll see 22 parks within that program, all across the city, in the completely communities and beyond, in all of our council districts, getting some improvements. And it's a lot of things like new playgrounds and baseball fields and basketball courts being renovated. All of that work is being done. But we also have targeted $1 million of private philanthropic dollars to partner with our public funding in order to do the Mayor Sylvester Turner Love Our Parks Complete Communities initiative to specifically work on 10 pocket and neighborhood parks that through the pandemic we saw were highly used and necessary for folks in those neighborhoods to have a safe and wonderful park experience close to home.
Awesome. And we know here in Houston, we love our parks. Shannon, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us all about Complete Communities.
Thank you, TaKasha. It has been wonderful to be here with you.
We're very happy to have you. And now we're turning towards Houston Public Works. Houston Public Works is in charge of maintaining and operating city streets and drainage, water production and distribution, wastewater, as well as construction permitting and regulation. We recently spoke with Houston Public Works Director Carol Haddock about the latest projects in HPW. Let's take a look.
The first project that I want to highlight is the progress that we've made on the expansion at the Northeast Water Purification Plant. By the end of this coming year, we're going to have a large portion of that online so that we can ensure water supply as well as safe drinking water for a large portion of the region. The second area that I'd like to highlight is both our streets and drainage. The Mayor's Street Rehabilitation Program has allowed us to rehabilitate 550 miles of streets these past 2 years. We're going to continue this and increase our annual production this coming year. The second thing that we're going to really step into is we have doubled the Houston contribution to our Stormwater Action Team projects, and we're currently working with Harris County to make an additional contribution so that we can really address drainage in local neighborhoods and make it better for people every time it rains. The Stormwater Action Team projects are a way that we get into every single council district every single year. We work with the council members to work with the local community to identify those areas that need the most attention.
Mayor Turner recently welcomed dignitaries and executives to the first Houston Africa Energy Summit. Let's take a look at the highlights from the two-day affair.
Africa at the moment is looking for partnerships, and which is the better way of entry into the U.S. is through Houston. In the way is the hub of energy, which is the challenge in Africa today as we speak. And why wouldn't I accept this invitation, a very important invitation? To me, I had to leave the UN, UNGA, and I say to myself, the Houston is the thing. I have to come here. You're doing great work. And this is what Africa wants, where we are right now. We are yearning to industrialize. How do we industrialize without the energy? How do we digitalize without energy? So this is the thing. You are the head of the hub of energy here in Houston.
We're focusing on technologies. A lot of emphasis now on carbon capture, utilization, and storage, working with our energy companies, clean hydrogen, working with our energy companies, and quite frankly, when we put together our Resilient Houston plan, that's underwritten by BP. Our Climate Action Plan is underwritten by our utility company, CenterPoint, and where we are taking a landfill in an underserved area of town where 240 acres were left contaminated. We're working with the energy sector to turn that into the largest urban solar farm in the country. Everybody starts at different points, and you can't ask people to do the same thing when they are not starting at the same point. So I think what we have done in the city of Houston can be helpful to African countries that may find themselves at different points, and I think we are, for those of us in Houston, quite sensitive to where things are, and then you look to find how you can make things a win-win and not a win-lose, because that's what we had to do in the city of Houston, find win-wins and not win-lose.
At the beginning of this year, the Bezos Academy and the City of Houston signed a historic agreement for the Denver Harbor community. Here's more.
We're here today to build on the momentum started last week when City Council approved a 10-year lease agreement with Bezos Academy to open a tuition-free Montessori-inspired preschool in the Denver Harbor Multi-Service Center that is scheduled to open in the fall of 2022. Yeah. And today I'm pleased to announce that Bezos Academy has signed lease agreements with 3 nonprofit institutions to open 3 additional campuses for a total of 4 academies in the Houston area, 2 of them in neighborhoods designated as complete communities, Magnolia Park, Manchester, and Sunnyside. Give it up to them again.
We have leadership principles at Bezos Academy. They guide how we do things and how we think. And the first one is child first always. And we put that at the center of every action, everything that we do to spend money, all of our thoughts. We put the children at the center, and I believe you do too. The other thing that's really important just to keep in mind is that about 90% of who we are right now happened between birth and 6 years old. Brain research now tells us that our minds were formed the most in that period. And as a country, we don't programmatically invest in that period of a child's life. That, in part, is why Jeff decided to do this, because it's when who we are is formed. So we are really excited to join you here in the community of Houston. We're excited to serve the children of Houston and the families of Houston and the community at large. And frankly, we view this as a spectacular start with some spectacular partners, but it should just be the beginning. There's a lot more work to do, and we're here.
I am confident that this program will be a game changer for many families. Underserved children will have access to education that will inspire their creativity and challenge them to succeed in the classroom. And then lastly, someone once said that children are messages that we send into the future to a world we ourselves may never see. What sort of message shall we send them?
Thank you for watching our special coverage of the 2022 State of the City Address on HTV. This afternoon, Mayor Sylvester Turner will take the stage and discuss how Houstonians can work together to create a city that is stronger for everyone. The theme this year is A Bridge to the Future. This is Mayor Turner's 7th year under his second 4-year term. Let's join the Grand Ballroom at the Hilton Americas in downtown Houston, where the 2022 State of the City is about to begin.